Okay, so you figured out, or we have figured out, that your critical numbers are where your derivative equals 0. So one of the things that we want to look at in section point 3 is what does the graph of a derivative look like? So if you will notice, this is a graph of a derivative. It is not the graph of the original function. It's the graph of the first derivative. So where does it equal 0? It equals 0 at 3. So you have a critical number at 3. Now, what kind of numbers are to the left of 3? They are negative numbers. So if we go back to our number line, there are negative numbers to the left of 3, which means your function is decreasing to the left of 3 because you have negative slopes. What kind of numbers do you have to the right of 3? To the right of 3, you've got positives because you're above the x-axis. And so you have increasing after 3. So this is actually a graph of the derivatives, or the values of the derivatives of a parabola. So your critical number is going to be where it hits the axis, which is 3. Where is it increasing? It increases when it's above the axis. So it increases from 3 to infinity. When does it decrease? Well, it decreases when it's below the axis. So from negative infinity to 3. And then do you have a max or a min? We'll come back over here because that's where this little drawing comes in handy. You just drew it. What do you have? You have a minimum value. So you have a minimum at x equals 3, and you do not have a maximum. So let's look at another option. Okay, so remember these are graphs of your derivatives. So where does he hit the axis? Figure that out first. He hits the axis at 0 and 1. So you've got critical numbers at 0 and at 1. If it's above the axis, it's increasing. Okay, so he's increasing here. If it's below the axis, he's decreasing. If it's above the axis, he's increasing. So you just drew basically a cubic function. And so what's your critical numbers? Where does he hit the axis? At 0 and at 1. Where is he above? He's above the axis from negative infinity to 0, and again from 1 to positive infinity. Where is he below the axis? He's below the axis between 0 and 1. So do you have a max or a min? Well, you just drew it over here. Right there, there's a max, and right there, there's a min. So you have a max at 0, and you have a min at 1. So it's kind of fun to see. Of course, I'm a nerd, but it's kind of fun to see how these things work out that way. All right, so let's do one more, and then you can do the last one on your own. So I have this, and this, and this. So I have 3 places where I've got critical numbers. I've got critical numbers at negative 1, 0, and 1. Where am I to the left of negative 1? I'm above, so I'm increasing. Where am I between negative 1 and 0? I'm below, so I'm decreasing. Where am I between 0 and 1? I'm above, so I'm increasing. And where am I after 1? I'm below, so I'm decreasing. So again, you're going to have a max here, a min here, and a max here. Okay, and that brings us to the final one on what is going on with this one. So if I have a negative 2, so negative 2, 1, and 4. Where am I to the left of negative 2? These are your critical numbers because that's where it hits the axis. Okay, where am I to the left of negative 2? I'm below, so I'm decreasing. Between negative 2 and 0, I'm above, so I'm increasing. Between 1 and 4, I'm above, so I'm increasing. And then where am I after 4? I'm below, so I'm decreasing. So what do you have right here? Nothing. Okay, you didn't change direction, so that's not a max or a min. You'll have a min at negative 2. You'll have a max at 4. Okay, So, and we'll figure out what this means in 3.4.